Hey, it's Peter Collins here. You're listening to In Conversation with myself, obviously, just said that, and Colm, Gavin, and... What your name again?
Greg.
Gary! It's not Greg.
No, it's Greg.
Greg, fucking jeez. And Greg, there you go.
Yeah, you are listening to In Conversation with myself, Colm, and obviously I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Greg Mulhall.
How you doing?
And Gavin Kelly.
Oh yeah.
Both arriving late, I'm going to admit at the start of the show, but Greg was coming from Leash, Gavin, James's Gate.
I'll let it slide.
So call the traffic.
What?
I'll let it slide.
I got
Yeah,
caught
exactly.
in the
Yeah,
traffic.
Yeah.
You're a horrible. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's...
And today we are joined by a man who has probably the longest radio show I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
A 5-hour slot
5 hours, 10 to 3, yeah.
on Spin 103.8. It's the one and only Peter Collins.
Thank you guys.
How are
Pleasure
you,
to
how
be
are you,
here.
Peter?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I usually start the interview by asking the guest what they initially thought when we asked them to be on the show. But of course, we asked you last April, so you might have
Last
forgotten.
April, yeah.
But what was the thought when we kind of approached you and asked?
Three
you-
goofy-looking students
Yeah.
coming up saying,
Well, we were looking well in suits.
You were looking very well
Yeah.
at the Student Awards. I was kind of it was kind of exciting, really, because I was... Firstly, when I got the email to judge the awards, I didn't really expect it anyway. So to do that was good, and then for people to come up to actually kind of recognise who you were, it's kind of like an uplifting time. And then you guys just like asked me to go on a podcast. I've never actually gone on it with before. I've done a podcast. This is actually probably what I can think of my first podcast.
wow,
Properly.
our
There we
first
go,
here's an
landmark.
exclusive for
I've had
ICW.
Clippets and Graham and Nathan's once, but they said they won't let me on their podcast until I start listening to their podcast. So they've done, I don't know how many, I think they're up about 80 podcasts now.
Yeah,
I've
they are.
listened to 5 minutes of the first podcast. They said I have to listen to 10 before I'm allowed on the podcast.
It's actually quite apt that you mentioned them, because in this room that we're in now, we're in a boardroom in the U. We also interviewed Ian Dempsey at the start of last semester, and he actually recommended the two boys as a podcast to listen to and maybe pick some hints up
Yeah.
from.
He was just on their last
Yeah,
podcast
he
last
was.
week.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So obviously you're no issue in coming here today.
No.
Then. Yeah, he said you were only coming from Leeson Street, so it wasn't
No, not too far to go.
too bad to go.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll get into it. So anybody that doesn't know Peter, if you don't listen to Spin regularly or anything, Peter is a DJ with the radio station. He's on from 10 to 3, which is, that's a fair.
It's a lot of
shit.
radio.
It
That's a lot of
is a
radio.
lot of radioing, but it was initially 10 to 1, and then when there's a rejig of the schedule and stuff, the talk show was taken away because Spin wanted to move towards like a CHR station, just kind of hot music the whole time. So they got rid of the talk show, extended the news a little bits and parts, and then there's features thrown onto the Zoo crew that they would talk a little bit more to make up that time they were missing out of talk.
One of our former head of radio here in DCU, Jazz Keen.
Mr. Keen, indeed.
Yeah.
So that's when my show was switched from 10 to 1 until 10 to 3, and I think I'll be doing that, I'd say 9 months now, 9-10 months.
Very
I
good.
can't remember. I think it was March or April when it switched over to them.
Very good. And you're obviously finding it okay then?
Yeah, it's good. It's long.
Yeah,
it's very long.
Do you get you obviously get breaks at some point? So
So at times I will. So from about 1, might just pre-rec a couple of links and go out, grab some food, and then come back.
Yeah.
And then get on with the rest of the show. It's kind of weird now that you do a 3-hour show. I look at the clock like, it's 10 to 1, finish 10 minutes. I'm like, nah, 7 hours to go.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is good, but then like you're in there some days and you've got Ariana Grande playing 5 times. God, I don't know if I can do this much.
It can be a vicious circle.
Yeah, especially with her. Like,
Well, we'll come to how you got into Spin first of all, but let's take you back. So you told me as we were coming up that you did a very similar course and were actually in DCU a bit for it in Ballyfermot College.
yeah.
To what we were doing now, which we're doing communications, of course. You did a media related course as well.
Yeah, still, I'll just do my education. The minute's kind of long there. I was going to swear there. You guys swear?
I actually... Oh yeah, it's fine.
There.
We already have the little E beside our name, and that's never going away.
Oh, that's okay then.
So
You guys are well bred.
work away.
I actually left school, I finished school, went to Glasgow and studied sports journalism for a year. Left there after first year because the course only started for about 4 years, so still only finding its feet, so it wasn't fully like thought out yet.
And it was dedicated sports journalism,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
just sports journalism. So it's exactly what I wanted to do, but it turned out it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that was actually
I wasn't ready. Like.
something coming through school was actually sports journalism. Like I looked at journalism because I actually realised going through the CA or whatever, there's no dedicated sports journalism.
No.
At least the level 8.
I don't think it's necessary though,
Yeah, but there is when you look across the water at the UK, there's tons of them.
There's a lot of them there.
I
Yeah.
suppose they just have more universities and colleges, anyways.
Yeah, I was never getting into the journalism course over here because I wasn't getting those points. So left that for a year, came back here, did journalism in Rathmines College of Further Education for 2 years, then finished that and went and did the degree in media production management at Ballyfermot then for a year. I think that was.
Of course, the
Royal
degree out
Nugent,
in
of course.
Rathmines is has
Was Ballyfermot.
some well-known alumni.
It does.
Yeah.
Some of our former guests, like Royal Nugent, who
Yeah.
you'd know from RT and doing the rugby. Yeah, he's a former alum of that. But when was radio first thought of as a potential career path?
It never was.
No?
Never. I fell into it. There was, in my course in Rathmines in first year, we had writing for radio as one of our pieces, basically writing for news or just short scripts, and that was it. And you go into the studio and you'd speak it out, blah blah blah, and that was it. Never thought of it at all. And then I started working in a shop in town where I was employed on Martin Guilfoyle.
Yeah,
Martin
I know
Guilfoyle,
Martin,
yeah.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
working there as well. We just kept chatting away. He was like, "We're doing college," and I was like, "I'm studying journalism." And then he's like, "Oh," and then I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a radio presenter at Spin. I'm a DJ." And I was like, "Oh, radio's pretty cool. How'd you get into it?" Blah blah. And then he was like, "Well, it's actually just an online station at the minute to help people to get into it. That Spin was setting called Freak.fm.
Mhm.
A lot of people in Spin are
Yeah.
on the honest.
Yeah,
Nearly.
it's kind of known as the training ground for like the likes of Spain and
Yeah,
98 as
literally
well.
the entire full-time schedule of Spin today.
Yeah.
Bar Steve K started.
Came true.
free.
Oh wow.
And actually, while we mention it, one of our current heads of radio here in DCU FM, Caller Work, has just started in Freak as well.
Oh, has
he? I've seen
on
that.
the sports show Saturdays 10 to 12.
Oh, very good.
So yeah, Freak.
Richard
Sports.
Dylan's in.
And Dylan is in RT Pulse. He's his
Pulse
deputy.
as well,
He's working away in Pulse. Yeah, online seems to be the kind of the training ground before you get onto the.
Yeah,
the
especially when
broadcast
it's
station.
ad free because you can't get him in trouble then because no one's paying. So you can say whatever the hell you want. So yeah, he was like, "I'll put you in touch with Brian Marr. Send him an email, say you're interested and give it a go." Sent Brian an email, came in, chatted to him, showed me the studio, and he's like, "Come in on Wednesday, do a show from 6 to 9, and if you like it, you do. If you don't, you can leave it." And then went in and just never left. But he shake it like it. Just one day, got a job in a clothes shop, talked to a guy, and then went into it. It never crossed my mind. But
And
now,
even when you were like, emerged in like, you were doing what, media production management in.
I was already in radio before that.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, yeah.
But like you were in like a media sphere at that stage.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And even still, radio hadn't.
No, just never. All I wanted to do when I left school was write for sports.
Mhm.
Because I wrote for the school newspaper for sports, and then after school I was like, right, this is what I want to do. That's why I pick sports journalism particularly, because like, well, I'm not studying anything else because this is not what I want to do. This is what I want to do. So I found a course with the name. I was like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Never looked into it, and I was like, well, that was a bad idea.
When
And
I was doing my research, it said that you wrote for Bleacher Report for
Yeah.
2 years.
yeah, I wrote for Bleacher Report for two and a bit years. It's a cool site to work for. The way it kind of works. You just literally send them an article, and it's like, I think it's at the time it was like either a quarter or it was 33% of applicants get accepted to write for them, and you start like at the bottom tier, and anything you write gets published, but every time you write it, it goes through an editor that reads it.
Yeah.
Now I think for a lot of the articles, the speed they got back to you, I'd say it was.
Yes, they didn't. Might not have read.
No, I'd say there must be an algorithm, computer-based article that read it to make sure that, because you had to like hyperlink URLs and where'd you get this, where'd you get that, blah blah blah. Anyway, so I wrote about that for a while. You kind of made way a small bit. You get your own like kind of page. You resell milestones on your profile,
Mhm.
and after a while, because people will pull from Bleacher Report. Put it on their own thing, but credit Bleacher Report and the writer as well. So you can go to like my friends in like San Francisco Times, whatever paper it was in San Francisco. So that's where HQ is for Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
He was on one of those papers. You get credit for that. So it's a great way to get up in it. And after a while, I think you can start making money in it if they're monetizing on
I
your
think
page.
that's a similar model to the likes of Joe, or maybe not Joe.
Not Joe.
Who else was it? Who was it?
Pundit Arena, wasn't it?
Pundit Arena.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
it. Yeah, they.
I think that's where they got their concept from. Pundit.
Yeah, they're very similar in that.
Yeah, they are. They're obviously Bleacher.
They're paid per, well, I think after
They're
a while,
paid
after you've been there a while, like you're
based
paid
on
per click.
clicks or
Click,
shares.
And I think that's the same concept for Bleacher Report, but I think Bleacher's on a far bigger scale. than-
Yeah.
than
Yeah,
it was.
actually, that's interesting because I don't know if Bleacher is the same, but they are paid on clicks/shares. When you were writing for them, did you find it hard not to be like, okay, we might
Sensationalist.
vamp up the title a little bit just
Yeah.
to encourage people to click on it?
How do you mean? Sorry, go on again.
Were you ever tempted into doing a little
Like clicking myself?
clickbaiting?
No.
If you
Oh.
were writing
Oh, well, like you can do that.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I'd be disappointed if you didn't do that. Like,
refresh.
Yeah,
refresh.
No, I actually never really thought of that. I just wrote what I thought would kind of suit the article at the time.
What was it that you were probably a lot of rugby?
Yeah, it was
Big
mostly
stuff.
rugby. It was actually when you type in Munster rugby on the site, and that's literally the only articles were for myself. I just kept writing for that. So at the time, it's rugby, golf, and football. But it's a hard thing to keep up with because the main guys on Bleacher Report for the main sports, the top stories, that's nearly their jobs. They always have those stories.
The
When
good
we were in
ones.
college, like, oh, I might write an article tonight. And I put
Yeah.
up like do stuff like 8-9 hours ago.
It kind of suits.
You can put
those-
your own one up if you
Yeah, it kind of
want.
suits that end. Like if they're that successful, they might as well make that their full-time priority. Whereas
Yeah.
if you just think of an article and
Yeah.
you want to publish in your spare
Mhm.
time,
Yeah.
you might earn a couple of quid off the back of it.
Yeah, exactly. But they have a cool. What they did was they had obviously had the emails and the list of who their writers and what sports those writers wrote for. So at a time when like the Masters was coming around or like the US Open, you get an email as a golf reporter saying, right, we have all these stories that we want done. So they knew these stories to get clicks on their website and would track people. So like who wants to do what and who can do which, and then you pick your ones that you wanted to do now. And that obviously lasted for I don't know, probably a year, 2 years, and then after that I just had the time. I wasn't replying to stuff. You just kind of like life gets in the way and you kind of just fizzle out of it. Yeah.
So it's fair to say that you were engaging with the journalism side of what you were studying and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that ever a possibility that you were going to immerse yourself in that life?
I think I totally would have if I hadn't met Martin and went
Yeah.
to radio because I mean that's what I studied. So like, what's what I'm gonna do? Because off the back, like that's what I would have done. Now, in saying that, I was always going to do that media production management degree, but I don't know. It could have been a different story what I did after that if I hadn't started to do radio before it. Do you know what I mean? So if I stuck with journalism and then did media production management, but I kind of radio kind of came in between those as well. So kind of like everything I did was like radio based really after that.
And so in Freak, your first show or your first slot or whatever, was
Yeah.
it very much setting the pace for what you would do now in Spin, or was it a bit of...
I started what that was U2, this is Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's how it started really, so it's absolutely shocking stuff. I had all the audio of my first stuff initially and some random links where people just popped into the studio, like 5 of you in there just talking absolute garbage, and then my laptop broke and I've literally lost everything, which is really annoying. I had everything from there, like the likes of Luca Fueno was in there, Rebecca Shackleton, Graham, Nathan, all this raw stuff when we were young and like just at the very start of radio, and now that's just gone because I broke my laptop, so that's a bit of a pain, but I guess that happens.
Actually, we have a similar story to tell in our own...
Do we?
Yes, so our very first interview, if you remember correctly,
Oh, well, as
way
in
back in
Who
first
was
semester,
our first one?
Roddy Flynn.
Oh,
well, yeah.
Yes, so
There's
that-
more DCU FM didn't have the facilities to record audio more.
Yeah,
Alright,
but
don't call him out like on our
Yeah,
podcast.
geez.
What's your problem?
Last year.
They've served us well, like.
Oh, you're,
Call
you're just going to blame Jack Matthews
Colm
for it,
and Dylan are
like.
doing a great job.
Alright, so what Jack was
Okay,
shit,
yeah,
like.
it's just at Jack Matthews if he's
Yeah,
listening,
yeah.
which he's probably not. But last
Most certainly
he's
not.
definitely not. Last year, we were all put on a signed radio show, and then I think one of us, I can't remember who had the idea, but we decided we'd interview one of our lecturers who had kind of become a cult hero in our course. His name's Roddy Flynn. We had a seminar with him every week, and it was based on like online lectures, and people kind of took the piss out of the online lectures, but we all loved him anyways.
Yeah.
He still is a great lecturer.
We had to watch YouTube videos of Roddy in his little home office
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
and his Star Wars.
So like 20 minutes long, 7 or 8 videos a week. Yeah, it was rough, but people still love the man. So we were like, why not? Fuck it, we'll ask him. Will he come on the show? And we went up. I think one of us went up to him at the end of the seminar that we had and was like, "Here, would you mind doing an interview with us?" And he was like, "Yeah, no problem." And then like, I'm not gonna exaggerate here. I think at least half of our course, if not more, listened to that interview because
definitely, yeah.
because
Just
people
put the group chat and stuff.
yeah, and the group chat was going off. We have a course group chat.
Yeah.
Everybody was thrown into it, and like, yeah, it went really well.
We got to see a kind of a softer side to Roddy.
Yeah,
That
and
you
like,
don't
the
see.
people afterwards were like, "That was great." And then we went over, and the recording system, like now you're able to get your clips, like your show, off
Yeah.
the system. You can upload it wherever you want. A lot of people do that, but the recording system wasn't working at the time,
No.
so it's a lost interview now. It was probably.
We still maintain it's one of our finest.
You know, yeah, it's probably some of our
you know.
best work, and it's
Yeah.
it's lost in the ether.
That's
now.
always a great excuse. The best work's always
Yeah, I know. I wish you could hear it. But
You know, if it comes to the hybrids again this year and you're a judge, Peter, you know, we had much better content, but,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so you're in this radio game now, and it's fair to say that you're doing quite well for yourself. What's the kind of plans now for the future? Are you looking ahead? Are you setting yourself goals? Or are you kind of happy where?
Well, I think before we get to that, like, how does one go from Freak FM? No, you skipped such a large section there.
Okay,
Went from Freak FM to you're full time, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, there was a couple of years there where
Bit of foreplay
beforehand. Did you think that the full time gig was going to come?
Yeah, I think the amount of work I was putting in at the time and what I was doing. So like we'll skip a bit. Like Freak had its time, and then that was ended. Then I got into commercial radio. I started Spin Southwest with the Sunday show. And that was now after months of firing demos to every PD in the country asking for a job or asking for part-time work, and a lot of the time no one replies. And if no one reply, that's when you start sending another email asking to get the last email, and no reply to that, you send another demo. And
I know the feeling well.
Persistence is key.
Yeah, and that's what I did, and that's when you started like, who is this guy? He's calling back and shut up. And then they might call down. Like Nessa began now, who brought me down to Spin Southwest. That was the last demo I threw out before I was like, right, I'm going to stop. I've like 5 months left to college with my finals and everything on project. Like, if nothing comes off this, I'm going to stop Freak for 6 months. I go back to it in the summer, and then she went back. She goes, "We can for chat." It's like, yeah, Grant, came out for chat. And she was like, "I want to give you a shout on Sundays." I was like, wow, okay, I did not expect that at all. And felt like I might just get cover work here or there. And she was like, it's literally the exact same show I'm doing right now. She gave me on the Sunday over there in Southwest. Then I was doing that for a while, and then how that progressed, I kind of became their main cover guy. Started covering every weekend. Then everybody's off during the week. I go like early for breakfast, drive time to night time to Coast and the Zoo Crew.
Is that difficult coming in and taking over someone's?
Yeah, well, you're fitting in someone else's shoes, and a lot of times they're way bigger than you are. They've had years of experience, where I was just thrown in at the deep end. I think the first big show I covered after TRL on Spin was on Spin Southwest was Breakfast. Like that's the holy grail of radio. Really, is Breakfast, and down there most stations you listen to, Breakfast has two main people, or you have one and you have someone that comes in and out not every link here and there, the bits and bobs. But down there at the time it was solely, this is it, it's your show. It was a single man band, like, and that was the first time I did it, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here, like. But I just kind of went on, just did what I thought was good.
And like, is it something that you try and follow, like the usual host routine, or do you put your own stamp on it?
At the start, yeah, you would, because if you don't, then you're just going to get lost.
Okay.
You're going to start like swimming without armbands if you can't swim. So you get their running order and you start pinging in stuff what they have. You'd be surprised, like, once you get the running order and the main things, like, you have to do what the show has, because it has to follow a schedule for the listener every day. Because just because the main host is gone doesn't mean that the listener has to suffer too. So once your clock is starting to get filled around the hour, you start to realise that, I only actually have still like time at like 12 minutes past 8, and then 26 minutes, and then not to 49 again. And you have your 3 parts there for doing your own little things. You're on like, find a funny story on the article on the internet. But then the rest, you've got news, you've got to sell this, that, do a competition here, call here, another thing there. Then you got to play like the Naughty Threes and that type of thing. So like the time does fill up. Okay. And also it's a 4-hour breakfast show. So.
And any moments when you're trying to land on your feet that just kind of went really badly?
Not really, like
cocky.
Yeah.
I was amazed to stay one.
Because like, the shows that I always did on your own, you're not fumbling with other people's mics. You're not. You have everything set ready to go. You're going to hit this button, this button, this button.
You're in control.
You're in control of everything. Where you're not concentrating on their mics, their levels. So there's not too much to go wrong sometimes in the shows that I do. But like for when you get a cross station promotion, then we're in the middle of the call and I've hit the wrong button and I've gone into ads. And the minute you go into ads, I go, well, you're gone now. There's no coming back from this. I'm like, right, I'm gonna have to leave that. And it's upsetting because you're like, you have this big call. It's perfect. It's edited. It's ready to go. You know where you want to come in. You know where to hit your bells and whistles, your bangs and cracks. And then you hit the wrong button. It goes to ads. You're like, oh, fucking ass. And then you're like, that time, like it's gone. You can't. It's hard to build that up to bring it back to where you want it to get. Like, because like that's the time that competition had to be done. I remember when I first started on the show I'm on now. Actually, yeah, you're right. I did go wrong. The competition, I was meant to do it on my last link, and the phones weren't working. They got it to work, the caller on, trying to edit it down, and then boom, my last link bed kicked in. I was like, oh fuck. had to lit down all the recording favours, do a last link of the show. Phone calls meant to go here, didn't go here. Show ends. I'm like, oh fuck. I was meant to win like a grand here. No, it's won a grand. So yeah, sorry, it did. And then I was like, well, what's going to happen now? So then Lauren O'Sullivan, now her talk show's gone out. She's like, that's great, let's do the start of my show. And then she just took the call and just did it there herself, and that's fine. Like the winner got their prize or whatever it was. I can't remember what the competition was. It was over 2.5 years ago now, or just over 2 years ago, I'd say. But yeah, that was a bad one, and that was the very start though. And then you learn from those mistakes, and you do get better from it. And you need to learn. You're like, right, my time management is shit. I need to get this better if I want to like improve. And you need to like know when you're making the call. You gotta remember the parts that were shit. So you don't have to like, if you do a 2-minute call and you can only use 45 seconds. You gotta remember, right, this whole thing was gone. Get rid of it. You don't need to listen to 30 seconds because you know it was bad. So don't save it. Nobody really cares how anybody's day is going, really. Do you know what I mean? Cut that part out. Nobody's know what to have for dinner. Cut that part out. And that's when you start to bring it down, and then you get your time back, and then you probably you're leaving less things to go wrong. Because if you leave more things in there, it's going to go wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure there are things that maybe you want to put in the show, but you realise, right, this doesn't fit the show, or I don't need it, like kind of killing your darling thing.
Yeah, like this days I do links and stuff, and this phone calls that I have recorded, or I've done the phone call, and I'm like, I'm way over here already on time for news. Like if I play this out, I'm going to be like way too late for news. Like while I play it and just don't say anything, shit for the news, or I cut it down. I'm gonna try to use it another day, or just cut it down and make it sharp. It's really sharp and sweet. Like most of the time, I'll cut it down and keep it sharp and sweet, because usually for the side of the show that we do, or I do, spin hits myself and Steve and a few people in the weekend. It's short. It's what you want. People are only listening to your show for the music, not to hear you kind of spouting on. Like it's more listening to your own ego and feeling it yourself. If you want to do long stuff, like Seth.
That's funny now, because it's very similar to something Joanne Cantwell said to us, and like Joanne gave us a lot of wisdom. But I think the one thing that really stuck with me was, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, you know, people don't want to hear your opinion or your voice. It's the people that you have on. So for the likes of us, we do the interviews and stuff like that. And
you're the catalyst.
Like, exactly. You know, we're just we're prompting you to rattle off whatever.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the time, if you're going all out and linking, you're going for broke. The only reason why you're doing it is because you want someone that you know in the radio, somebody to hear it and think that sounds good. Where the person that's in the car is like, this lad is literally talking shit. Whereas like the person that you want to hear it, if you've done it short, I'm like, wow, that was good. You made that actually sound really
Your
good.
point about timekeeping is something that I've actually experienced, because I did a bit of work experience in WLR and Beat when the summer after transition year, and I was
Spent some time in there myself and Beat.
Yeah. And I was on air with Oliver Carroll. I don't know if you're familiar with Ollie.
No, I know the name.
He's on the Breakfast Blah now. He was doing Drive Time before.
Yeah.
And basically, as part of my work experience, I got to go into the studio with him while he was doing it. And he turned to me one stage and was like, do you want to play a song and link it? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he said, what song do you want to play? So I'm an Oasis fan, so I chose, I think it was...
Don't say Wonderwall.
I think it was Supersonic I chose, or else it was Live Forever, one of the two. And like, so you have your little kind of thing that tells you whether you're over or under where you're supposed to be in terms of timing. And he took it out, and he put in Supersonic, and like it obviously, I think it went over by like 3 or 4 minutes. And like within like seconds, he made a few clicks, and he was down to like a few seconds over then.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how quickly like some of them can do it like in their head. Like they know what song to cut or what segment to cut just so they're bang on time.
Yeah.
It's definitely a skill I'd say.
Because that's what you use for, a skill that I think that made me much more easier to be found for timing out, and that people in spin are quite good at it now, is because we used to have to time out show to the second.
That'd be tough. Like.
Yeah.
So, more so for Spin Out West, because at the time, the news that went out in Spin in Dublin was going out in Spin Out West. So when they started in Dublin,
you had to be ready.
If you were late, you pop into the news in South West and you could be 5 seconds in, they could be like, and Gary from Martain has done this.
Yeah.
And nobody knows the context. So your clock is going up, you're like, I have to fill time here, can I put another song in? Can I put a longer sweeper in? What can I pull? Because you can never pull ads.
Yeah.
Even though
they're the money makers.
They're the money makers, and they're, if I pull this ad though, I'm perfect. This is it, like, but you can't put an ad. So that's where skill to time it out does come in. And now you don't have to time it out at all, you just gotta make sure it's on the hour or just below the hour. Within 2 minutes to the hour, anywhere between there, you're actually fine for for our station anyway. But yeah, for time and out, you kind of learned a lot there, and that's what in Freak they hammered home. They're like time out, because they knew at the time a lot of people here are going to go to Spin and anyway into the community horse stations, and time out is a big factor, and so it needs to be done. It's like that was we kind of learned a lot in Set West. That's what it was like.
That's a good one for us to remember.
Yeah.
We're probably not. Colm and I host a sports show on DCUFM twice a week. Probably wouldn't be our strongest suit now. Timing.
Yeah, no, because honestly, it's hard. I know, like for me, myself and Greg, to do a sports show in an hour, a bi-weekly sports show. Like you see, like the Off the Ball lads, they do what, like 3 hours a day, Monday to Friday. They have loads of time and they can find their niche stories to pull. Whereas like me and Greg, we can only really cover the main stuff. So we cover.
I touch, on a lot of stuff.
We cover our soccer, we cover our hurling football, and we cover our rugby. And even then, that depends on who is available. So it's very much up in the air. So it is tough because then, like, sometimes we need to fill the end with those niche sports. Like we've had lads talk about
NFL or NBA,
and then other times, like there'll be so much to cover. So let's say the Champions League is on.
Like now the National Leagues are back.
National Leagues are back, so we'll be dedicated to that.
Rugby's in full flight.
Yeah, well, Champions League is back. Like we have to cover the weekend results, look ahead to the Champions League fixtures, and like between the two of them, if you're looking at enough fixtures, that'll take up so much time.
Yeah. And
then you move on, like you said, the National League now we have hurling and football to cover as well, and then rugby, the Six Nations to start.
And see, when it comes to our National League coverage, and we like to do Division 3 and 4 because that's where Laois live now.
Yeah.
So
How'd you get on the weekend, Greg?
The Laois footballers actually won. We bet down, up in down, so that was a great result. The hurlers were playing Galway.
Fair.
In Pearse Stadium. So we ended up losing by 9 points. Eddie Brennan's first competitive game as Laois hurling manager.
Not the worst.
That's a great start.
Waterford had a nice 27-point win against Offaly.
But like I see Ken we're getting completely
sidetracked. Are you a fan of the GAA?
No,
not at all.
I'm actually sorry. I'm doing Laois and Laois went on a training holiday or training camp last year, and Croke Park deemed it fit to I suppose penalise us, and we've lost home advantage for a game. So our Laois and Louth is now in Croke Park on Saturday.
Oh, so you're back in Croke Park.
Back in Croker, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Love my press box up there.
Yeah, it'll be slightly emptier than it was on.
Like I actually think I could be the only one in there.
Yeah, you might be. You might be.
But I'm still going up there. Okay.
So anyway, Peter, when did you know that you could actually take the radio full time? Because I presume you were working other jobs along with the gigs you were doing at the time when you were first starting out.
Yeah, so when I first started, what year are we in now? 2019? I think it was January 2016. No, it wasn't. It's January 2015 when I started on commercial radio. That's when I finished the college course. So I went back, finished the college course, and then when I finished that, I was like, right, free. I'm ready to do whatever comes up. And that's when I started covering. When I started interviewing for full-time shows in South West, there was like co-host of Fully Charged, didn't get that. The show afterwards, didn't get that. Then in January of 2016, was offered TRL in Spin South West. And at that time, I was like, I always wanted to move to New York and do the graduate visa. And so I had a year from September 2015 to do that. And when they offered me that in January 2016, I was like, I'll take it, but I'm moving to New York in summer, or in August or September. They're like, okay, we'll get back to you. And then they're like, 4 days later, they're like, okay, we're not going to give it to you now. Because we want someone who's going to be on for ages.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's fair enough. That's obviously like cover their bases. That's completely fine. I was totally fine with that. I knew that was the consequences when I told them I was going to go. Now I could have just said, yeah, I'll take it, and then just
said nothing
and then left. Yeah. But then again, I might have left.
Yeah. And I suppose you would have burned the bridges in a very small industry as well.
Industry, but then everybody knows people have to go and travel at some stage. But at that time, maybe not so much. But they didn't give it to me, so that was fine. They took Connor Hamilton from Beat, and then a few days later they took Connor. I got a phone call from the PD and Beat. We're like, will you become our main cover guy? I was like, yeah, sure, sounds good. So my boss at South West, she was like, that's fine. And she was like, how are we going to decide who gets you when we need you? And I was like, and then she was like, how about first come first serve, whoever else you first you work for?
And they were okay with that?
Yeah, well, Beat knew that I'd always
been with
South West. That's where I was, and that's where I started. That was grand. But Nessa was so nice at then to say that look, it's first come first served. If someone asks you, because I can't be like, let's say if Beat asks to work Sunday, I'm like, yeah, I can do it, but it's let me ring South West and see can I do it.
Okay.
They'll ask me first. So I was like, nice. Like whoever gets first, that's fine. If Noel Power asks you, and for Saturday I won, and I ask you too for Saturday, you do Beat, and that's fine. And then that's how it works out to Beat, and then.
Were you travelling down to Waterford then?
Is there an echo in this room or something? Yeah.
Don't ruin the illusion, Peter.
So, you know, literally for the South West, I travelled down every time I did a show. I drove from Dublin to Limerick. Then I started doing Beat, drove from Dublin to Beat. And then after Beat, I started becoming a cover person in 98 FM and Spin in Dublin at the same time, so do both. So there's days where I'd be going one morning in Limerick, afternoon in Waterford, and then back to Dublin.
Wow.
Do you think there's somebody flicking through the radio stations? Why is this guy always on?
Yeah. There was a time I was on
some nomadic radio presenter.
Yeah, well, there's times I'll be on 98 FM at 6 in the morning to 9, and then at 11:45 I'll be on in South West in Limerick.
Long day.
Jeez, I hope you got your expenses back, petrol and all that.
No, but that's the industry we live in. It's cutthroat, and you got to do what you got to do to get going.
You're living in past times, Colm.
Yeah.
You'll be paying them.
Yeah.
To
literally, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took some like I was so naive at the time. I was like, oh, this is great. I'm showing doing all this, and then I was kind of just never really thought about it. Wasn't making any money from it at all. Just go down on the Sunday do that show. It was only when I started picking up a lot more shows that's when you start making money.
Yeah.
I was like not making money, but like, it's like because it cost me time and petrol to get down and back, and just about cover that, and then that's it. Then I just went job down to show that type of thing. So then obviously I was free the whole time. I was working in a bar on the weekends in Dalkey. I was doing promotions and spinning for in Dublin, and then at that time I was literally part-time centre in all 4 stations. Spin 138, Spin South West, and I did FM at Beat, and then it was just first come for serve for whoever came.
And like they were all like okay with this.
Yeah,
is this like the norm? Would that be?
It's not usually the norm. I think at the time I was just like putting myself out there so much that people need to cover people, and then the show that I did as like a jock, a hot jock radio DJ. There's only a few of us doing it, and some of them had their full-time gigs in Dublin, and that's grand. And then I'd experienced covering like breakfast in South West, and then I was doing when you're at Beat, you talk your links are a bit longer sometimes.
Yeah.
And then and then the takeover in top 7 at 7 to Beat, which I covered mostly, covered a few daytime shifts, but in the evening time, that's a great show. So many people have done that. Just let you do what you want, what fits, and what's nice there, and it always just kind of works out well, and you get experience in that, and then they were all happy because like South West doesn't. That's the South West and South East, like they're not. Yeah, they cross each other in the middle somewhere, but they're not competitors. Spin 98 at the time weren't competitors, so.
Yeah. I was told once when I was about 16 or 17, and I was working for a newspaper at the time, but another newspaper I was doing a small bit of freelance for, and I was told at the time I had to pick. I couldn't be in rival newsrooms, really? Even though I was never in the newsroom. Like I was freelance sports correspondent, like. But I was told to pick. Yeah.
And you did.
I did.
We won't
did.
reveal
We
the
won't. It's big. I'm sure everyone's dying to know. To suspense.
It'll be a little mystery series that we build up from now on.
Well, must be somewhere leashed there, are they?
Alright, just
There's only 2 papers.
Absolutely out me here, Peter.
Yeah, hot shot bag.
I completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, so covering. What kind of notice do you get if you're needed to cover a show?
Well, sometimes latest would be the night before or a couple of hours before, depending where you are. Or just like people's holidays are booked 3 weeks in advance, and they just ring you can work in 3 weeks.
Like you talked about covering the breakfast, which, like you said, is like kind of prime time radio, if you get me, in a way. And like if you get the call saying like we want you for tomorrow, the main breakfast show, are you shitting yourself or are you just excited to get in and?
Well, I suppose it probably comes into it like how familiar you are with the particular host and their show. Yeah, I suppose you're trying to.
Because the only breakfast show I did, I covered the lads in Dublin, I think twice back when they started. Or was that? I think it was Graham Nathan's. But that was more of a tuck and roll show. Just get through it and kind of do what you usually do.
Yeah.
Don't do too much more. But in Fully Charged in Southwest, if you're covering the breakfast show, you do what the breakfast show was meant to do. I was nervous the first few times, but like radio's a thing. Like it is nerve wracking. You were speaking to thousands of people, but like at the end of the day, it's your job, and you're just going in to do your ordinary job. If you're 9 to 5, if you're a baker or something, like it comes second nature. Like now when the mics go up now, it's second nature. There's no, obviously sometimes if you're excited about a leak, you get like not butterflies, but like you're ready to go. You're really energetic for it. It's great and all. But like now the mic goes live, it's like it's just normal.
Yeah.
Now it is. At the time, obviously at the start, it was a bit scary, like big shows do, but that's the reason you're there.
Yeah. And like there's been a lot of talk, mainly recently, that like radio is kind of moving out and podcasting is coming in. But I was listening to The Last Word from Matt Cooper there last week, and he said that there was a statistic, I think it was in the Irish Times, that 83% of Irish people still listen to radio, which is like one of the highest in Europe. So that must be a really encouraging sign for you as a radio DJ.
Yeah, a few years ago, the lads would be like messing around. We're only here for a couple of years, be gone anyway. But like, no, it's not the case. For something that's been around for so long, it's been around before TV, and it's still here. After, like, everyone watches TV now, but everyone's watching online now. Do you know what I mean? Like, you home the evening, you don't really sit in front of the TV unless you're watching Love Island and all that stuff.
No.
You're watching the matches, grab. 9 out of 10, you're on Netflix, or you're playing FIFA.
I think live sport is the only reason I'd ever watch television.
I even do that on my laptop. I have Air Sports and Sky Sports.
This is the reason why I watch like the news or something like that in the morning before I go to work, just to catch up on things. But no, I don't think radio is too powerful a medium for it to ever die. Like I mean, like you can't watch TV driving your car. I just caught myself with the camera. I was like, alright. I was like, I'm talking to you. Listen to me. You don't stop listening to the radio. But that's what it is. Like, you can't watch TV driving your car. You need entertainment driving your car. Where are you going to get it from? Podcasts or radio or Spotify. So that's the way the cookie crumbles.
My parents both still like avidly. If they're in the car, they are listening to radio. And even at home, as soon as my dad gets up, a weekend morning, he'll flick on the radio, whether it is just music or is it
like my alarm in the morning is radio. I have the radio. Breakfast shows I'll change shows every couple of days, get different sounds. But it's always going to be there. You need it. The only thing that might drop listeners for us, and probably has done, is DAB. Like digital audio, DAB in the car is a game changer. Like you treat it to stations all over the world. Anything you want. Like I'm constantly listening to stations not in Ireland, like Australia, Dubai, UK, America. The bigger leagues, like maybe I don't know about Dubai as much, but Australia definitely.
Well, it's only emerging. I see
it is like obviously Dubai's only come emerging in the last X amount of years. So radio's been coming there the X amount of years to the larger audience. I remember watching a show there. It was like Getaway Abroad on RT or whatever it was, and they're like over 82% of language spoken in Dubai is English. So therefore, there's so many English stations out there.
You talk about Australia. It's funny because you actually recommended them to me. Hamish and Andy.
Is that where you got Hamish and Andy?
Yeah, from here.
Yeah.
All right.
I started listening to them a few days after you recommended.
I just remember you sent them to me, alright.
Yeah, and they were obviously like massive radio show hosts out in Australia, and then they moved to podcasting.
Yeah,
they have.
I wish you guys knew, like, just listen maybe a year earlier than I told you, because like I don't know if all their old stuff is still on iTunes anymore. I don't know if it's just the new stuff, but like I only got onto them about 2.5 years ago. But I got onto them at a time that they had a 10-week break from radio to do TV, but for each week was 1 year of their best of a radio summed up. So have all that audio. I actually have it. I can give it to you guys. So I just listened. So that's how I fell in love with them and the way they present. It's just like, it's so relaxed. Okay, it's obviously so well prepared. They produce it, like in Australia they have massive teams working on the shows. Like so many people that when it's on air, to us it just seems so blasé and relaxed. They're just so quick and witty. Like they're just great.
If I could compare them to, I think I've said this to you before, I could compare them to the likes of Chris and Kira on 2FM.
Yeah.
In their terms of setting, they're obviously people that have worked together for a long time.
Years,
they built up a rapport
that dynamic
that really comes through when you listen to them.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hamish.
But yeah, they have beautiful podcasts. But like they obviously could tie down any radio job that they ever wanted. They could go like go back to radio straight away. But I think they're probably at the stage of their lives where they, I think Andy might be getting married or something soon. I'm not too sure. I may have just made that up. But I know like Hamish has young kids and stuff, so they're always working on the radio show. It demands a lot. So they're like, let's go podcast now. They do TV shows. They have a TV show.
Yeah.
So like they're doing everything like, and they've made their books already, so they may as well.
Yeah, they're having fun now. Yeah, definitely. So now I'm going to ask you. You're quite established now in the radio game. Obviously, you have your 5-hour slot. If I haven't mentioned it already, on
do you want to have heard you just emphasise the 5-hour slot?
Crazy that
we get it at this stage.
But,
come on.
Yeah, you're doing quite well for yourself in the radio game. Are you setting yourself goals for the future? Or are you just kind of enjoying the ride?
At the minute, I'm enjoying the ride. For here, obviously, I'd love to go abroad, both to live and present abroad. It would be really cool. I think there's always probably windows.
Did you ever get off on your grad visa to New York? You never got
No, never went.
Okay.
Yeah, I never got. Yeah, so I came around again. I think we skipped that bit. But I was doing the cover work over the months. Then the show came up, applied, got offered, and stayed. So basically, that's what happened there.
Any regrets there?
So, no. Because the main reason I did a positives and negatives of going and staying with my sister, and the positives stayed just that way because like I could have just gone to New York. Tried. I had no full-time experience going over, just part-time. Could have got nothing over there, could have got a little bit, came back here, and I'm back at square one. I'm exactly where I am where I left, and all you guys are out there now, so I'm now in the bigger pool than when I left. So I was like,
this is actually a very apt conversation to have because like during summer last year and kind of early first semester, I was very much set on going to Canada this summer.
Yeah. And I was going to go for a year. I did do the J1 experience.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
I did Vancouver.
Oh.
Yeah. Very good.
But this was it. Like I was considering that, and then we started back doing the podcast at the start of the semester, and like the guests, like to be fair, they kept on coming. Like we were getting some really good guests, and the podcast started to build. And now we have a bit of momentum behind us. Like our listeners are growing. We can tell that much. And as we were going through the interviews, I was like, if I go to Canada, whatever chance we might get of getting any media experience out there is probably slim to none. Whereas if I stay here, we can continue to do the podcast. We can continue. We upload weekly, so we can continue to upload weekly, and we can keep the momentum going.
Are you telling me, like, if you could have gone to Canada, and just because we had like 5 interviews over the course of something, you wouldn't have gone?
Well, it's just I just don't like, and I think I kind of saw like this coming where like the podcast would start to pick up some recognition. And
I would have been on that flight to Canada, and I would not have looked behind me.
Well, at least you know your priorities lie.
Exactly.
You can just do stuff over there. Like you need that life experience. You don't know what you get when you go over there.
Yeah, that's true as well.
You just find a needle in the haystack, or you could just get that interview with that person. Do you know what I mean?
But a lot of people we knew were like that in first year, saying, "Yeah, we'll go on our holiday in second year." Now I think a lot of people just realise their priorities in college, want to keep momentum going, wait till they're done the course next year.
Yeah, that was my big thing as well, is that like going out to Canada, I know some people can find a good job and they'll come back stinking rich, like, but I've also know friends that have gone over with money and come back broke. So like that was a very real possibility, and it just made more sense to wait until the degree was finished at least before.
Did I tell you about the lad that I went out to New York on a J1? One lad he got a loan to go out, and he was like, I'm not going to work for the first month, I just want to kind of have a good time. So the first month was over anyways, and like money was running out. Got another loan. Yeah, I don't know how the heck he fucking managed to get like another loan from the same bank, but they just gave him like an extra $5,000, and he just didn't work at all. Had a great time.
All again.
Yeah, just had a great time.
It's interesting. Peter, how old are you?
Me, 25.
You're not the only one in the room.
Are you 25? It's a great age.
Like, what is it a fucking joke about? It's when you hit 26, you're over the hill, so I'm fine.
I'm 26 next Wednesday, so what you say?
Sorry, Peter.
I was thinking about my last 7 days.
Jeez, you're going to have to fit a lot into that. I am 25 as well. I'm a mature student. I went to NUI Galway for a couple of years, where you were?
I'm a mature student there right now.
Yeah. And
I was some days in there.
What are you doing down there?
Innovation management, postgrad in innovation management.
Very good.
Yeah. Sounds fancy. Don't really know what's going on half the time, but can get
fair enough. Do you love Galway?
Yeah, Galway's cool. I'm only down there, so it's the course is mixed between Galway, Limerick and Cork. So you're in physical lectures one Saturday a month. So last month it was Galway, next month it's Limerick, then the next month it's Cork. And then I think that's a wrap then.
And then who's
But everything's online in between.
And who's it accredited by? NUIG.
NUIG, but I actually think you can set it to your home college.
Right.
We can probably, like, if you're from Cork, you probably take UCC.
Yeah.
I think so anyway, but I'm not too sure.
Very good.
But I just sent mine to NUIG because that's where the course is mainly based from. So yeah.
Yeah, you've got a long education history.
Yeah, I literally finished my degree 3 years ago and I was like, I'm done. Fuck education.
You hear that a lot. Like.
Never going back. And
what changed?
Don't know. I just felt like, I think it's probably part to do with the show as well. It was so long that I came home at night and I was like, just needed something to take my mind off. Either just going to the gym or like playing sports or just watch. Because I wasn't really playing sports at the time. Or just watching TV or Netflix. Like I need something a bit more challenging, basically what I'm trying to say.
Stimulating.
More stimulating, challenging. Just like, look, I'll just go back and do this. I'm sure, just give it a go.
Very good. And you like it?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Done now 10th of June, which is kind of looking forward to the ending, to be honest. Like, it's pretty annoying when on the evening, like, you'd love to sit down and watch Netflix and be like, you gotta do.
You just said that you wanted some time.
I know, but I say that.
Make up your mind.
And I also said I wouldn't go back. And I did, but like, you do get the, like, you know that yourself at college.
No, like, the amount of people I've heard, like, and especially because now, like, I am at the age where a lot of my friends are finished and stuff and they've gone on and done postgrads and whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people that did, like, say, like, their original undergraduate degree, they said never. As happy just to get out the gap with a degree in their hand, like, and then you see them 2 or 3 years later going back doing postgrads.
Yeah.
And even, I've one guy who's gone back and done 2 postgrads and he was the most, like he was the opposite of studious. That's a nice way to put it.
You see, the way it is when you go back to it's the thing to do, finish school and go to college.
Yeah.
Not necessarily you want to, that's what your parents tell you to do, what school tells you to do. You do your degree, 9 times out of 10 you like it, or that you want to, or like another time you never wanted to do that degree, you just did it to get it through. But if you go back as a mature student like yourself, you're going back to do this because you want to do it.
Yeah.
So if you go back and you want to do it, you've no problem studying. Like, I find myself easier now to actually go and do study or do assignments rather than back then where it'll be a chore at the time sometimes, because like this is what you're doing now, but like now you've selected to do this and that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah, fair
so
enough.
I still think...
Yeah, no, obviously I do find it hard to go and do the study sometimes, but like, you've chosen to do it, so you got to man up about it and do it, like, do you know what I mean?
Thanks,
So,
alright. Like, you're absolutely just ripping on me today, like.
Alright.
You need to target.
Usually it's Colm or Gavin. I'm not used to this getting the.
You make a lot of guests aggro, in fairness.
Yeah, I do stir a pot. Like,
right, let's talk music, because that's obviously a large part of your show and your daily life.
Yeah.
Do you like chart music, popular music?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Like, if I go to a nightclub in town, I get more excited that the cash on TikTok is on than to do some house shit that I wouldn't even know. Like, I genuinely do.
So is there
I've said Coppers, I'm not really fan of.
Yeah.
It's great. I go Christmas and that's about it.
Yeah. So let's talk favourite artists. Do you have any?
At the minute, I'm really liking Post Malone.
Yeah.
Post Malone, yeah.
He's really he was, I remember, because his second album dropped, was it March or April last year?
Yeah.
And I remember I listened to it a lot at the time now, like I listened to it kind of religiously for a while.
Beer Bongs and Bentleys.
Yeah. And then I think for like the latter half of the year I didn't really, like the odd song that would come up on Spotify I listened to, but come to the end and I got the Spotify end of year thing and he was still #1 top artist in there. Yeah. Oh, he's really taken off now.
I definitely like his new song, was it Sunflower?
Sunflower
is very good.
Yeah.
Oh wow, he's got one out.
Wow as well.
It's making a way up into our playlist now. Next week will be in our main playlist.
Any particular genres? Hip hop or rock, or does it vary?
Varies. I kind of just like what I like when it comes out. If I like set it at all, I like it. Funny thing, I don't have Spotify.
Really?
What?
Apple
Music.
Don't have anything.
No.
What?
No, because you have enough in your job, I suppose.
Yeah, I listen to it every day. I just.
What, do you buy albums?
I still buy DVDs.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I love just opening the DVD and sticking the DVD player and watching it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
What? Like, how?
It's just a thing.
Like, all you do is press a button on your laptop and it's done. Like.
It's lazy.
Oh, I'm sorry, that extra 3 steps to get to the DVD player.
It's also free.
I don't know. I just never like. Of course, I'll listen to it when the lads have it. I put on a song, but I'll.
So if you took out your phone right now and someone, like, okay, you're at a house party. Someone says, someone connect to the speaker there, play something. Do you have anything on your phone?
That's what YouTube's for.
Wow.
That's what I see. At least put it on YouTube. I never. I don't know. I think I got things in my head that like Spotify's killing radio, killing our jobs.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't want to.
There's kind of stink.
There's an
there.
element of
And
that, yeah.
Graham from Fully Charged, he was in that same buzz, and then until one day he came in and he goes, I caved. And I was like, I knew you caved. And he took it and he downloaded Spotify.
Well, Peter, like technically you are a student and you can get it for $5 a month. Like,
It can you?
Yeah, $5, yeah.
Is it not a $5 a month? Is it more expensive than $5 a month?
It's $10, yeah.
$10 a month regularly.
Apple Music's $10, I think so.
But you can get the first 3 months for 99 cents.
Could you just keep making up emails then?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But you do still get ads, don't you?
No,
No,
premium.
if you get
no,
free,
you can get
no
premium
ads.
now.
No, but even on the premium trial, do you not get...
No.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Hence premium.
Yeah, Kirk.
No.
I've got too many direct debits.
And are you a concert festival goer?
Yeah, I was at Ben Howard there last Friday.
Oh,
Very good.
Singers.
Oh.
What's in the pockets?
I stuck it on the bin. Oh no, I think there it is. There it is.
Oh
yeah.
Hanging on to the tickets.
Yeah, it's just in my jacket. No, he doesn't do what he does anymore. He remembers those stuff. Every Kingdom, his first album there, or like the Wolf and stuff. Those songs are just so good, and the way he's
He
gone
played EP,
now.
didn't
He did play EP.
He did play EP, yeah.
I was actually chatting to one of the girls that
Yeah.
works in the music industry, and she says he doesn't play anything off that album anymore. It won so many Brit Awards that year, and that's how he came to be famous. He hates the fame that album brought him, that he won't play those songs constantly.
A lot of artists like that.
Yeah, and I was at his gig the other night, and it was so sad to see, but like loads of people were leaving early.
Because he wasn't...
He spoke to the crowd. It took him 45 minutes to actually address that the crowd was there for him.
Wow.
In the Tree Arena, like.
Wow.
And then people were leaving early, and he said, it was like, "Hey, you doing Dublin? Thanks for coming twice in 5 minutes." And the next time he spoke was like, "Thanks, Dublin," and then walked off stage.
Wow.
It was weird to see because
very
like he's
Like that's some contrast. Like
Yeah.
Gavin and I went to Florence and the Machine back before Christmas, and like amazing show.
she's class.
Like
I saw her when she headlined EP.
yeah, like fantastic show and everything. But like you nearly had to drag us out of the Tree Arena afterwards. We were mad to stay. Like it's
Just there licking the walls.
we were looking for Keira King.
I love festivals. I love going to festivals.
So what ones have you been to recently? Like I suppose like if we say 2018, what ones were you at?
Electric Picnic, Longitude, Forbidden Fruit, Body and Soul.
Okay, so it's Johnny, you weren't at.
But see, they all fall on the same weekend.
Oh,
Sea
yeah.
Sessions, Body and Soul, and there's another one.
Oh, the one in Cork.
No, that's the Independence. No, that's
Is that
not
not
Indie Bank Holiday.
Yeah.
There's three of them though do fall on the same weekend. With that Body and Soul weekend, I didn't go. So obviously those ones are wrong. So the Body and Soul didn't go to Independence because I got to Cork I haven't Cork that time every year, but I didn't go to that. But yeah, I try to go to most of the big ones. Like to be honest, Sea Sessions is class. I went there once and it was really good.
And do you go international with your festivals?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Gav here is going for all 7 days as a ticket now.
I don't know how you're doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe really hot and sticky and rotten.
Yeah.
It might be.
I would like. I know some girls have got an Airbnb. I do Airbnb jobs.
I see friends of mine got an apartment.
I don't mind. I really enjoy the festival camping. Like,
Yeah.
We're too old for that.
Absolutely.
Wait till you hit 26, Peter.
But I think
You're not even 26 yet.
Well, I'm not going to be camping when I hit 26.
Well, like, yeah, this lad was a miserable bastard a lot of the time.
I live like about 5 miles from it, from EP. Sorry.
Yeah.
And like I posh camp, basically.
Yeah.
So I do camp, but I go home every morning, have a shower, nap.
Yeah.
Bit to eat, come back.
That's alright.
That's grand. Like, but
you camp and then go home in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Campsite's half the crack.
That's alright though. I know some people that go down to that local pool and go have a shower there.
Yeah,
And then
no.
come back.
Yeah, so some people think that's cheating.
Which?
Oh,
yeah. Like
Oh, it is.
we-
Like I'll happily admit, I stayed the first year I camped.
I have had showers at festivals though. That's fine.
Oh, that's
The
right.
lines usually are
Dreadful.
terrible, but the lines are shite.
Yeah.
No.
I did that Sea Sessions. Most
Yeah.
of the time I just get out of the tent and essentially pour like a 2 litre bottle of water and we have an after shower.
I do
Yeah.
that one.
And then
Baby wipes are.
half a can of Licks and baby wipes
Yeah.
and then
Actually, in fairness,
off you go.
like, yeah, we did go home. What was the Saturday morning? But we stayed then.
We stayed too long because I was
on-
nearly not going to go back.
on the
For a while, I was like, I
we
need an extra
didn't
break.
we didn't go home on Sunday morning. Then we actually
Yeah.
stayed in the campsite. In fairness,
We
for good
sat there in our
for good or
filth.
Yeah, it was filth.
It's still a long time Monday.
You got to embrace it.
Shut up! Why did you have to bring that up? Like,
It is grim on Mondays though.
Yeah.
After festival, you're there.
This lad had a broken trolley and it was the funniest thing ever.
I actually had like.
He was crying. He was in tears.
You come across as a sensitive type.
Yeah, I had a bit of a nervous breakdown leaving on the Monday morning. I couldn't function in any way, and my dad had given me this little trolley thing to bring in all the shit. But I blackmailed the lads when we were coming in, and I was like, right, if you want to put your shit on the trolley thing, you have to pull it. So they actually pulled it in, and I didn't have to do it, so it was grand. But then coming back, they were like, no, that thing's fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So I loaded it all up, tied it all perfectly. It took me like half an hour, and I had it all perfect. I was like, this thing is not going to fall over, it's not going to do shit. Picked it up, just collapsed straight away. And I just kept doing it.
And the wheel was broken as well, so like the wheels were like fold out ones, and they kept on folding in then every time we tried to pull it.
And like we were coming through the woods.
It took us like a half an hour to get out of the camp.
We were coming through the woods and we were coming up a hill, and it just kept doing it. And I just sat down there and I started like crying.
There's nothing worse than that little hill there.
And
at the same time, I still wouldn't pay for one of them fucking.
And all they did is laugh at me. Like the two of them just like took out the phones, laughed at me for like half an hour straight, and I was there like bawling, crying.
Yeah, 100% deserved.
Yeah. And then it took us like ages to get home. My dad started arguing with every guard on the way.
Yeah, because they were all trying to divorce.
Like my dad's like, if I just go up here now, I'll be home in 2 minutes. But they're sending us out like an hour of a loop.
Yeah.
And he was getting like frustrated because obviously the delay of an hour and a half getting out.
He was ready to get out and scrap them at home stage.
Yeah. I thought he knew that guy. Turns out he did not know him at all. Like.
In terms of live acts, what have been some memorable performances that you've seen?
Again, Post Malone Long Shoot was class.
Yeah,
really good.
I thought it was mad that he went for a point in like one of the local pubs afterwards as well. That was just so down to earth.
Macklemore I've seen 3 times. In fairness, the set broke long shoot at Marty Park. Yeah, really a lot of problems with it. Like the computers kept crashing. Like you could actually see the desktop screen on the screen on the stage. They were trying to fix it. Like, and obviously outdoor concerts in Marty Park, you got to be done at 11.
Yeah.
So he's like running. He was delayed by half an hour. And like I knew he always directs the crowd, but at the time he just had to blitz through his set. Like he wasn't as good outdoor. He wasn't good there as he was in 3 Arena. I've seen him twice in 3 Arena, and he's like phenomenal there. Take That. I saw actually Take That last year on that. If you ever, you may not be a fan of Take That.
I like a bit.
Guilty pleasure.
But their concert is a spectacle. It's just phenomenal. What goes into the production value is just incredible what they do. If you do get a chance, I know tickets are like Goldust. They are coming back here in the summer, I think. But yeah, definitely sure I'll Take That as well.
And any Irish acts that you're particularly fond of?
Corona's class. They're always good live. I don't know how many times I've seen them live.
I was having we're doing our research, having a creep on your social media there. Hudson Taylor, I seen popped up a good few times. You're a fan?
Hudson Taylor, fan. Alfie was a year below me in the same school.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so
I actually went to
and Ronan as well. Actually, I think he's a bass, really good artist. I think he's a bass player. He was in the year below me. He played rugby with Ronan for years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I went to that. They did a gig in the Roysh and Dove in Galway.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it was like 60 people, and tickets were like €8.
Yeah.
And it was honestly the best gig I've ever been to.
They're class, like they really are.
And I did another one, Two Door Cinema Club. It was supposed to be a Two Door Cinema Club tribute band in the Roisin and Dove, and everyone was like, Two Door Cinema, like they've one fucking album at the time, like, and it turns out it was them, and they were debuting their new album. And again, like 60, 100 people maybe, amazing.
Yeah. And that's what makes the headlines though. They're like, they're like,
it was the talk of Galway for like the whole week coming up to it, because it had kind of started to break. People were starting to kind of click. They're like, there's no way that's actually just a tribute band.
What was it called? It was like Tudor.
Yeah, it was Tudor. Yeah.
But your not last night, Monday or Sunday night Bastille were cancelled.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Lewis Capaldi was meant to support them. And last night Lewis Capaldi put on Twitter, anyone in Dublin want me to come play there, just play your band. And he played Bleeding Horse, and that has made the headlines in the last day or so. Lewis Capaldi's been everywhere, and everybody's kind of forgot Bastille was meant to come. I'll be bad people that I didn't get to go.
Yeah, might as well, yeah.
But obviously they're going to reschedule the Bastille gig, but like, Lewis Capaldi's capitalised.
And do you find now as a DJ that Irish music, like I feel, I don't know, just from kind of keeping up with that, Irish music is really starting to flourish now as well. There's so many great bands, so many great singers.
Are we going to name drop?
Oh
no, actually I've got a text to show you, right? So the newspaper I write for,
what's the name?
Never mind. I'm pretty sure I've said it a million times on the podcast before. But anyways, my editor my editor, he did his travel blog about Leisure playing Down at the weekend. He went all the way to Down, and every year he does this travel blog about like getting there to there. He's got kids and stuff, and it's funny. So he said like that radio was shit. Yeah. Basically, he said like there was nothing on at this hour.
Obviously, wasn't listening to Peter Colm.
Obviously, you know. And
honestly not.
I texted and I said love the travel blog, but here's a podcast for you, because he was giving out. So I sent him our podcast, and the response, I sent him a link, like, and the response I got was, "Who is Tebby Rex? Sounds like a robot dog."
I don't know if you know the boys Tebby Rex. They're a hip hop duo from Maynooth.
No,
we had them on the podcast.
They recently did a song with the Blizzards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're kind of up and coming hip hop duo. But yeah, people like when you say, "Oh, we interviewed Tebby Rex," they're like, "What's that?"
Yeah. I went around for the week coming up to it, being like, "So which one's Tebby and which one's Rex?"
Which apparently wasn't too inaccurate.
And I got absolutely grilled by the two of them. Like, cop on now, come on, get your shit together, get your information right. At least learn their names. I was like, no, it definitely has to be one has to be Tebby and the other is Rex. And it turns out it was right.
Nice.
Yeah, we asked them.
Yeah, but the way the kind of Irish music scene is breaking out now, like it's always been strong, but there's like a multitude of great Irish acts who are really accessible. So like I've been kind of emailing people, and we do have some really good up and coming Irish. And when I say up and coming, like some of them are proper
established. Yeah.
So like the likes of Wild Youth, they've said that they're gonna.
There's a chat to them yesterday. They're in studio or last year in the office.
They launched their EP there last Friday, and it's great. And there's multiple bands that I've gone on to, and they all seem. I think they're looking to do as much PR as possible just to put their name out there, and it's also great for us because they have an expanding audience all the time, and if we can tap into that, we're expanding our audience as well. So it's
I think I picture this leading the way with the Irish acts.
They've really taken it. Actually, the Academic are doing brilliant. They're over in America now, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're doing fantastically well. I remember seeing them. They supported Noel Gallagher in the Marquee in Cork there, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. They're after really blowing up now.
We had them for a private gig for us, a private gig, a surprise gig. We had them. They're releasing a new album, Tales in the Backseat, and they're just so good live. They're really good. Sure, they support Rolling Stones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
What more could you want?
Yeah. Guys, do you have any final questions to ask Peter?
So Peter, aside from music, you do like a bit of sport.
Yeah.
You also play a bit of sport.
Yeah.
What do you play?
Rugby.
What position do you play?
Wing or 13.
I was gonna say it has to be a winger.
Winger or 13.
Okay. And you're a Munster man?
Yeah. Well, Munster supporter. Families from Cork. Yeah. Both my parents from Cork.
Cool.
Both parents from Cork. Born in Germany.
I'm just gonna warn you. He's gonna take that clip from the video, and he's probably gonna make like a boomerang of it or something. A gif or something. Sorry, go on.
Both parents from Cork. Born in Germany and then brought back here. And so just living in Dublin.
Well, it's good that they didn't just leave you in Germany when they moved back home. But
they leave you there.
Glad.
Big ones.
They saw the potential radio DJ in him when he was born. We have to bring this lad back.
He'll do better with an Irish accent than a German accent.
Exactly. That was it.
And you also, from my extensive social media creep, you got to play alongside your brother.
Yeah.
Big moments.
Yeah, it was actually.
How much is between? How much?
3 years, yeah.
Oh, that's not.
See, we always meet each other in school. So whenever I finished juniors and he finished seniors, we'd never cross over.
Right.
So we always meet each other there, and then obviously for club rugby, you're just segregated your age groups. So I never played with them there.
Okay.
And then finally got it there. A couple of
very good.
End of April, I think was last year, maybe.
Who's better?
Me.
Alright.
Right. Although he's played the last 2 games, he's got 2 tries and 2, so he's not too bad.
Fair enough.
We're both different though. He plays in the back row, like.
Alright, fair enough.
Do you know where you'll be watching the game on Saturday?
This Saturday, potentially in the Martello and Bray, maybe. We'll see.
Score prediction?
I don't know about a score. I think we'll do it though. I'd say we'll at least get 3 tries. Depends on how Johnny's off the tee as well.
Any tickets?
No, I've got tickets that.
Gold dust.
I'd say Ireland somewhere in the 20s and England in the teens.
Right.
So I guess we'll wrap up.
Before we wrap up, we'll do the quick fire get to know you, and then I have one more question, and then we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So any advice, Peter, for people like ourselves, people trying to get into the industry? Or the stuff you've learned yourself.
Have you been listening for the last hour? Like,
I knew this.
He's basically mapped it out. You go to free.
Basically.
You go to free, and 5 years later, you're Peter Colm.
I knew this question.
What, after the name change as well or something? I'm sorry.
it's so hard. People always ask you any tips to get into the industry, or is there a way in? There's no straight door into the industry. Really, it's a tough industry to get in. But like once that there's a crack in the door open, you jam your hand in and don't let it close again, and you keep pulling and pulling and pulling until it fully opens and you step through. Persistency is key. Honestly, it really is. Whether you're good or you're bad, that doesn't make a difference. If you're persistent, you're keen. And a really good example of that of persistence is Shona Ryan. She was once the PD of Spin, but she was also once the work experience kid who never left.
Wow.
Just worked her way up.
Worked her way straight up from the bottom.
There you go.
Work experience, never left, became the program director of Spin. Same Jamie Crawford, he started as a Spinny and then he was CEO. Never left. Those persistence paid off. You show interest, love for the station, passion. That's what it is. Put in the hard work, doing your research. It is just hard work and persistence. That's what it is. Obviously, there's an element of like skill as well. And home, you learn stuff as you go along from different things. Like just because I do this type of show doesn't mean it's the only show I listen to.
What you're confined to, like.
Yeah, you got to pull from everything. That's like Hamish and Andy. Like their delivery is so good. That's like you need to take that delivery and execute that yourself. Always listening to other shows, other podcasts. If you want to get into radio, or if you want to do podcasts, or you're obviously constantly listening to podcasts, and not just stuff you're interested in. You have to listen to stuff you're not interested in, because that's the stuff where it's different to what you're doing, and you pull something there into your own, and then you can just make something that works. Like it is hard work, persistency. Always great to know someone, and networking is really good. I know from when we first started in Spin, like you do in radio, you start getting invited to events and do stuff, and I was like, I don't really want to go to these, really nervous to do this stuff. But I went to a few of them, started chatting to a few people, got to know people, and you don't realise the opportunities that come from just talking to someone. Like I've done loads of really good experience over the last 2 years and done loads of things, achieved lots of things, and from just going to these events, meeting people that are like, I remember that guy Peter, he was really good at this thing, he might grab to come aboard on this project, whatever. Like, and that's what it comes like. You just put yourself out there and stop caring what other people think. Like really,
I think we tick a lot of those boxes. And what you said about networking, like besides this podcast where we interview people, we get to just talk to people in the industry. This is like one big network for us as well.
Oh yeah, like it's
when
one
you
big.
have like you clearly are good at networking for the people you have.
Well, Colm is very good and persistent with the emails, so he is certainly, he doesn't need to practice that one. Gavin and I might, slightly.
I have a template that they need to stick by, because I've said to them, you start doing the emails because I'm sick of doing it all the time, but use my template because you use it by yourselves.
Peter, I do have one question for you. Do you ever see yourself returning to the print side of things, or maybe not even necessarily print, but the journalism side of things, kind of in a more, I suppose, you know?
I've always thought about. I know there's a blog up there that I still have on Blogger, and there's another one up on WordPress that I left and never logged back into. I know they're there somewhere. I've always kind of thought about maybe sitting down and writing stuff again. I don't know, like.
Do you ever see yourself sitting down at a desk at the Irish Independent on the sports desk, or do you see yourself at radio for?
No, I think at the time sport, I love reporting sports at the time, but now I think I just prefer watching it. Yeah, I think it's like. When you say print, obviously you mean like online as well? Yeah. No, I think I just prefer watching it now.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Right, I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
This has been In Conversation with Peter Collins. Peter, thanks for coming.
No worries, it's been a pleasure, boys.
It's been a great chat. We'll see you next time. Keep listening.
Bye.